Well, hello there, and welcome to map making with me, Ice Metal Punk. In this video, I'm going to explain a little bit about a map that I'm designing, and then basically this is a call for help video. It's not so much a map making video as it is I've programmed the basic mechanics of this map, and I need level designers. I've been a programmer for many years, and during that time I've programmed quite a few games, and yet I've never gotten the hang of level design. And I want this map to be really fun for everyone to play, and in order to do that I need good and fun and entertaining levels. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain all the mechanics of this map. This is a parkour exploration map, by the way. And once I explain it, you can download this world in the description. There'll be a link to it. Just download this world, design some levels. I've got some nice tools here to help you out. All of these will do different things for you while designing the level. And then submit them to me. Either link me to them in the comments below, in a YouTube personal message, or on Twitter. All of that contact information will be down below. And in return, any levels I use, you will get your name in the credits, which will be displayed in the lobby, as well as, if you want, your Minecraft head will be in there. And also any kind of promotion that you want will be next to your name, so that would be your YouTube channel, your Twitter handle, your Facebook page, whatever you want me to promote for you, I will promote your stuff. So you get all kinds of credit and promotion for anyone who plays the map. And there will be a video announcing the release of this map, so you can share that around as well and get promotion from that. So it's win-win. It makes fun levels, I get a good map out of it, and you get your promotion and credit. So nothing to lose. So yeah, on to the explanation. So this is a parkour exploration map. So what does that mean? It was inspired by NateT-Bird's Jump Arena, and there is a link to his commentary on that map down in the description. Basically, the idea is that rather than be a linear parkour map where you have to go from one stage to the next, this is non-linear, so you can go, you unlock new stages from the lobby, and then you can go back and replay stages you've already played, and then unlock new stages as you beat them. But rather than be a long, parkour course, I guess, each stage will be roughly square. It can be any size you want, but roughly square in sort of a contained room. So they're all self-contained, and in order to beat them, you have to get to a certain part in the stage, a certain part in the room. But in addition, there will be secrets to unlock, and secret places and stages to find, and things like that. So if you're still a little confused, go watch NateT-Bird's videos, and it'll kind of explain it a little bit more, where the inspiration's coming from. Although I am inspired by Jump Arena, this is not a clone. This has its own mechanics, it'll have its own unlockables, and it's just sort of the same genre of map as Nate's. So yeah. So as any parkour map, basically you have to jump around through obstacles to get to certain things. So what are you trying to do? Well, you're trying to get to a goal, which in your map, when you send them to me, wherever you want your goal to be, you could just place down a lapis lazuli block. Right now there is no goal because I haven't actually built the levels yet, but just place down a lapis lazuli block wherever you want the goal to be, and that's where the player will be trying to get to complete the level and unlock the next. But there are, of course, some interesting mechanics here, one of which is these switch blocks. So this is kind of inspired by the Mario games and the P blocks. Basically, you've got the blue switch blocks and the red switch blocks. And in order to use these, when you get near one of the blocks that's deactivated, it disappears. So it's basically, it acts as though it's not there. Now, it is there when you're far enough away. So if you wanted to use it in some kind of weird puzzle, for example, to redirect water or lava or whatever, that's fine. But just remember that when the player gets within 3 blocks of it, it will disappear. But the key is that you can switch these, or the player can switch these. Now, for now, it happens on brown carpet. Most of these things will be retextured in the final map, but I'm just sticking with the default Minecraft texture pack for now, so that you guys know which blocks are which when designing your levels. But this will be retextured to look like a switch. So if you sneak on this brown carpet, it will switch which ones are active and which ones are deactive. So obviously the glass being see-through is the deactive one. So here you see that, like before, the blue disappears, but if I switch it, now the red will disappear. So you can build courses or obstacles out of these 2 types of blocks, and the player, will have to strategically switch them depending on where you place your brown carpets in the level. Then we've got these flip blocks, which basically just alternate on a clock. There are 2 types of flip blocks, flip 1 and flip 2, which are identical except that they are kind of inverted from each other. So when one is on, one will be off, and it's literally just that. So you can use this for time jumps or whatever, or you can maybe have like a strip of course where these are alternating across the path so that you have to jump from one to the other, but you have to time it properly. Now, one thing to note is that the player will be able to use points that they've collected to upgrade these. And what happens is, for each level they upgrade, the timing of these will be slowed down a bit so that they have more time to jump. So keep that in mind, that it won't always be this fast. This is just the base level. But players that are more advanced and progress faster will be able to slow them down. Then we have the short steps. And what the short steps are blocks that disappear. But not right away like the red and blue ones. They disappear after standing on them for a short amount of time. Or technically it's being within 2 blocks of them for a short amount of time. And then as soon as you're outside of that 2-block range, they come back and reset themselves. So this is good for like bridges that you have to run across, or whatever. Keep in mind this can also be upgraded with points if the player chooses, so that they will stay longer before disappearing. So if your design is set to, is set up to make it hard with the default 1 second of waiting, the player might actually have longer than 1 second if they've upgraded. So, yeah. Then you've got checkpoints, which are these ender portal frames. Basically, if a player jumps on top of a checkpoint... whoops. I will fix that bug, don't worry. But yeah, if you jump on top of a checkpoint, it gets activated and it says checkpoint. And the next time the player dies, they will respawn back at that checkpoint. And every time they activate a checkpoint, that happens. And that becomes their new spawn point. If they go to an old checkpoint that's already activated, nothing will happen. It will not reset their spawn point. So yeah, when they activate a new checkpoint, that becomes their spawn point. And every time a level starts, all of these will be reset. So keep that in mind. Like I said, I haven't built any levels yet. That's what this video is all about, is getting levels from you guys. So there is no reset mechanism just yet. But just keep in mind, when you place these checkpoints, that is how they work. They will be reset at the beginning of each level, and only new ones will change your spawn point. And I'm hoping that however large your level is, these should be somewhat frequent in your level throughout the parkour. just because, I want players to not have too high of a penalty for dying. I want it to be fun, not like ultra hardcore. So as many of these as you can without it being like every other block. Yeah. Then we've got these emerald blocks, which will be retextured probably to an air vent or something similar. They're basically bounce blocks. So if I go over it, you hear an air gust of air and you launch. And of course, it doesn't have to be walked on, it can be jumped on directly, so if I were up here somewhere and I fell onto them, it would still work. Yeah. And that's just an emerald block. Place that anywhere in your level, and it will work like that. Keep in mind that this is another thing that can be upgraded with points, so the player can bounce higher with higher upgrades. And that is actually a really good way to have level progression in your level. So you can have, a path to get to the goal, that lapis lazuli block. But then you might have one of these around that, if the player has upgraded, will bounce them high enough to reach some extra area, so a special area where they can have secrets and collectibles. So, yeah. So that gives them incentive to replay. If they see that they can't reach something on a bounce, but then later they upgrade, and then they can go back and then they can reach it. So yeah, that's just an emerald block. Bounce blocks, air blocks, whatever. One thing to note about these levels is that the player cannot swim. So if they go in water, they die. So that's just something to keep in mind. It will be useful for your maps, in your levels, put water on the ground or in areas that you don't want them to traverse, blah, blah, blah. And it will kill them instantly. But later on, the player can, for a large number of points, they will be able to get Frostwalker boots. Now, if you don't know what Frostwalker does, is if I am on the ground next to water source blocks, they will turn into ice until I walk out of range, and then they'll melt back into water source blocks. So you can use that to sort of, get across areas of water. But remember that at first, before the player has collected enough points to upgrade, they will not have that ability. So don't make levels impossible without Frostwalker boots, but you can, again, use this for progression by blocking off an area with a lot of water, so that once they get Frostwalker boots, they can walk across and get to some secrets or whatever. And I've mentioned points for the upgrades quite a bit. So how do you get points? You get them by collecting these. These are gold nuggets. They will probably be retextured to gold coins or some other form of money. But they are points. They will not despawn until collected. And the player collects it. In this case, it was 5 points. So you can see in the scoreboard, I have 5 points now. So yeah, you can place those anywhere in your level that you want people to collect. I haven't yet decided if they're going to be reset on each level. Like, when you restart the level, if it's going to be reset or not. Probably they will be, but maybe not. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But for now, just place them in your level where you want them to be before you send them to me, and I will put them in and decide whether they're going to be reset or not later. The last thing, I have this redstone block here just to deactivate it because it's very loud. And in fact, I'm going to want to bring my sound way down. All the way down here. Infinite arrow launchers. Yeah. So basically, when there's no redstone signal on these will just launch arrows forever. They're literally infinite. They never run out. You can use this. This is getting annoying. Hold on. Yeah. So you can use that to, shoot the player off of certain areas or whatever. If you want, you can always put redstone in your levels. No command blocks, please. Do not change any command blocks. If you do, unless it's a really good idea, I probably won't use your level. But you are allowed to use basic redstone. And so if you want the player to do something, get to a certain area, hit a pressure plate, and that deactivates these arrows, that is perfectly fine. Again, if there is a redstone signal on these, they will not shoot arrows, otherwise they will. So yeah, you can use that to hurt the player, kill them from arrow damage even if you wanted to, but mostly I was thinking just using it to knock players off of platforms. Yeah. So, to build a level, you can use... Oh, also, one last note. Those gold coins that I collected to get to points... Sorry, that I collected to get points. That is also something that can be upgraded later. People can use points to invest in future points. And what that does is each gold coin, by default, counts as 1 point. But you can upgrade that so that level 2, each gold coin will count as 2 points, so it sort of doubles your future points. Or level 3, each gold coin will triple, because each one will be worth 3, etc. So don't go in assuming that the player will have 1 coin equals 1 point. It might be more if they've upgraded, but by default, the initial setting is level 1 is 1 point per gold. Alright, so then how do you build the map with these things? So first of all, you can use any blocks you want. Just keep in mind that water kills, that emerald blocks launch you, and that these are checkpoints. These end portal frames are checkpoints. Everything else will just be normal blocks. Brown carpet can be used as a switch for the red-blue blocks. Everything else can be just used as regular blocks. Even these, and the clays, and those glass, whatever, it's all can be used as regular blocks. So to place these special blocks in your world, I've provided some tools over here. Now, when you come into this world for the first time, you will spawn here and get teleported here. This is where you're going to build your level. But then you have this to return to the spawn. So this is where all the command blocks are. It is also where your tool chest is. So I made this for me, but you guys, of course, are going to need to use it to build your level. So let me show you how these work. All of the renamed impulse command blocks that say plus NBT, those are designed so that you place them on top of a block, and the block underneath gets set to whatever type it's supposed to be. Or, basically they're designed so you place them once and it triggers whatever it's supposed to do. Except for a few, so let me show you what I mean. So first, let me clear out my inventory so I have some space. Oops, I should just put that back, whatever. Okay, so for example, let's say I want to place some red and blue blocks that switch. So I would take a place red, and I would take a place blue, and obviously I would want to put the carpets somewhere in my level for players to be able to switch, but I would place down any block anywhere, and it again doesn't have to be white wool, it can be any block, and if I put a place red tool on top of it, it becomes a red block that will switch appropriately. And the same is true for blue. I can go in anywhere I want, place a block, place a place blue tool, and it will become a blue block that right now is deactivated, so it will disappear when I'm near it, but then reappear later. And then if I switch this, then the red does the same, and yeah, it works exactly as you see there. In fact, all of these demonstrations I set up using the tools that I'm about to show you. So, yeah. So, you put a place blue block on top to turn it into a blue switch block. You put a place red block on top to turn it into a red switch block. Now, these are hard to remove, so if you try to remove it, it'll just reset itself. So in order to remove it, what you need to do is stand on top of it. Whoops, that's not on top. Stand on top of it, and then run the following command. Kill at E type equals armor stand. Capitalization matters. And when you run this, oops. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. So be very careful when you're making this map that you don't put in a wrong command. Because what I just did was I killed all the armor stands, which means I basically disabled all of these, except for a few. So don't do that. But again, if you just try to break these blocks, they will reset. So what you need to do for the red-blue blocks is stand on top, and you want to run this command, not the one I said before. You do kill at E type equals armor stand, and then very important, you do comma C equals 1, so that it only kills the nearest armor stand, not all of them. So if you do that, it'll tell you kill blue block, and that tells you that this one is now disabled, and I can destroy it. Do the same thing for, if you want to break one of these. Of course, if they're deactivated, they will disappear on you, so just activate them. And then run the same thing. And now it says it killed red block, and you can break that. The flip blocks are slightly more complicated because they have to be synchronized. So what you want to do if you want to place flip blocks in, you have these 4 command blocks. You have reset flip cooldown. What happened? Yep, reset flip cooldown. You've got reset flip block state. You've got place flip block 1 and place flip block 2. Now, which is 1 and which is 2 doesn't really matter. The important part is that they will always be opposite each other. So to place a flip block, what you have to do is, let's say that I just want it down here. You put a place flip block 1 tool above it, and it becomes a flip block 1. And then somewhere else, you have whatever you want. You put a place flip block 2 tool above it, and it becomes a flip block 2. Now you'll notice, like I said, these are not synchronized by default, because their clock starts when you first place them, and you don't necessarily place them exactly on time. So what you do is, after you've set up your flip blocks in a certain part of your map, or whatever, you have to do reset flip cooldown, just place that block down and break it, and then reset flip block state, place that down and break it. And by doing that, you will resynchronize all your flip blocks. So what I would recommend is when you're working on a certain area that has flip blocks, and you've got the flip blocks where you think you want them, just do that synchronization, so reset cooldown, and then reset state. But then also, when you finish your map, and you're ready for like a full test of your map, just do that synchronization as well, one last time, just in case you forgot to do it and you've placed some blocks somewhere. If you've placed some flip blocks and you forgot to synchronize after, just make sure, just do that when you finish your map, just for good measure. And again, you can't break these normally, because they will just reset themselves. Oops. See? So what you want to do is you want to stand as close to these as possible. I would say stand on top, but they obviously flicker in and out, so it's hard to do that. But stand as close to it as possible, and run that same command I mentioned before with the kill at E type equals armor stand C equals 1. And it should say killed flip 1 or flip 2, depending on which one it killed. And then that one will just disappear, because it was out in that case. If it wasn't off, it'll say killed, but the block will be there, but now you can just break it. So for the short steps, these are going back to being easy ones. These back. So you just take a place short step block, and then put that down wherever you want your short steps to be. The short steps, by the way, in case you forgot, are those bridges that disappear after you stood on them for a bit. So yeah, so again, just do that. And if you want a bridge or whatever, you just build out a bridge in any block you want, and then just place these. Oop, not there. Yeah, well, there, 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 and you've got your bridge of short steps, so that as I come closer, they will disappear. And I'm flying now because it's creative mode, but yeah. And once again, the way to get rid of them is to stand close to them, and even if they're disappeared, you can still do this, and you just do that kill command. Now C equals 1 will only take 1. In this case, it might be easier to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at once, so I'll come in the center of them and just do C equals 5, and all 5 are short steps, so that's fine, and now I can break it. The checkpoints are just end portal frames, which you can get from here. But one thing you do need to note is you need to initialize your checkpoints. So basically, checkpoints detect that you're standing on an empty end portal frame, but they are sensitive to direction because these blocks are directional, so depending on which direction you're facing when you place them, it changes some of the data. So to initialize them, once you put down your end portal frame, you just place a initialized checkpoint block above it and close it, and you're done. And now it should be initialized. Because if you don't initialize it, if you place it down in the wrong direction, it's not going to work. So remember, just always initialize your checkpoints with the initialize checkpoint tool. Again, I'm going to fix that bug. That is a bug. I'll fix it. It's just decimal places. But yeah. These bouncers, you don't have to do anything special for. Just place a emerald block, and it will become a bouncer. Water, again, nothing special. You just place water in the level, and wherever the player touches water, they will die. And then these, what I'm calling ever-full arrow launchers, the infinite arrow launchers, that requires 2 blocks. So if I put these back, that requires a place arrow filler tool and a place clock tool. So as the names suggest, the arrow filler will keep the dispenser filled with arrows at all times, and then the clock is what you put behind it or next to it, somewhere adjacent to it, and that's what triggers the redstone pulses to allow it to constantly shoot. And so basically you want to come here. I forgot the dispenser. So you grab a dispenser. You place a dispenser down wherever you want it, facing whatever direction you want, whatever. Let's just say it's here. You want to place an arrow filler on top, and if you don't know, you'd have to hold Shift and click. And now it will be filled with arrows constantly. Can never go away. And then to place your clock, you place any block wherever you want the clock to be, which should be adjacent to your dispenser, and you do a place clock. And from then on, it will just constantly clock this. Now, to destroy it, the same thing. Armor, you go as close as possible to it, and then kill type equals armor stand. In this case, I'm going to do 2, because I want to destroy the clock and the arrow filler. Keep in mind, you can't destroy the clock normally. It will replace. The arrow filler, however, will not replace. But if you destroy the block, it will leave an armor stand behind, and it will still try to affect its block. So just for the sake of cleanup, if you're going to break one of the infinitely filled dispensers, always remember to kill the armor stands like that first. And that's about it, I think. Checkpoint short. Oh, the last thing is where you want your gold. So when you want gold collectibles, this is a little different. it doesn't automatically place itself, and the reason for that is it is customized. So you place down your gold, your summon gold thing. As you can see, it's called summon gold. And the command is in there for everything you need. The only thing you should change is where it says count 5B. Change that 5 to whatever you want. Make sure the B is still there, but change the 5. So in this case, this is 5 pieces of gold that it will summon. And remember, 1 gold is 1 point to begin with, but it can be upgraded to be more, worth more later. So if you do, you can do anything from 1 to 64, because it is 1 stack of gold. But if you do 64, keep in mind that when the player first goes and collects it, from the beginning, it might be 64 points, but if they've upgraded, it could be 128 or 512 points or whatever. So I suggest you use smaller numbers. Maybe not, this is up to you, but I suggest between 1 and 10. So, and if you put 0, by the way, it will still summon, but the player will never be able to collect it, so it won't go away. So don't do that. Between 1 and 64, please. But preferably probably between 1 and 10 are good numbers. So once you've decided how much gold this stack will have, which in this case, let's just do 10. You press done, and place a block next to it, a redstone block, and it will summon your gold, and then you destroy that, and it's there. So now that is worth 10 gold. So I have 5 points now. I am on level 1 for point collection. So 15. So perfect. So that should be everything. Let me just double check and make sure I've explained everything. Checkpoints, short steps, gold, flip blocks, and the flip block synchronization tools. Regular command blocks, just in case, but you guys are probably not going to want to use those. Again, I probably won't use your levels if they require special command blocks, or if they require you to change the command block systems here, unless it's a really, really good idea. Arrow fillers for the Everfull, clocks, blue and red, yep, that's everything. The rest of your map, the rest of your level, can be whatever you want it to be, made out of whatever blocks you want. Doesn't matter. You can even use these blocks if you want to trick the player into thinking that they're actually there. So for example, I could use red clay, but then it won't switch. If you really want to mess with the player, but go for it. I don't really care. That's fine. Yeah. So that's about it. And again, there is no finish. There's no finish functionality yet because I don't have any levels to use it on. But wherever you want the player's goal to be, put a lapis lazuli block or multiple ones, whatever. I don't care. And when the player gets to a lapis lazuli block, that will ultimately turn out to be the level finishing function, the goal post or whatever you want to call it. So in fact, I'm going to throw some of these in right now so that you can use them in your level. And this is not, that's for me. That's not going to be there. You can use the booking quill if you want to write me anything that you forgot to mention when you submitted your level or whatever, anything you might forget, whatever you want to tell me. You can just put a booking quill, just put a book in there and write whatever you want. You can use signs as well, do whatever. One last thing to note is taking inspiration from NateT-Bird's Jump Arena, all the checkpoints will have some way to return to the lobby once you are on them. So just keep that in mind. I don't know how that might affect your level building, but just in case, just know that there will be a place, some way, which I haven't decided how yet, for the player to return to the lobby from any checkpoint. So, yeah, and then the secrets, again, I don't have any way to unlock secrets yet, but what should I... Let's just say put a diamond block wherever you want a secret to be found. And then I'll put those in later. So diamond block is secrets, lapis block is goal, and actually I will write those down right here. So like that, put some signs and say diamond block equals secrets, and then lapis block equals level goal. Alright, so there you go. And yeah. So that's all fine. So basically, let me just give you some diamonds. So basically, you want to come over here, grab whatever tools you need, and then step on this pressure plate, and it will send you out to the main area. You're going to want to build your level here. Again, it can be as big as you want. If it's too small, I probably won't use it. If you can complete the whole level in less than a minute. But it can be as big as you want. Try to keep it roughly square, and it should have a ceiling, a floor, 4 walls. Obviously, you can put more walls inside, but it needs to be self-contained. So ceiling, floor, 4 walls, and then whatever you want inside. Every level must have a goal. And basically, the player will... So you're going to spawn in here, right? So if I teleport in, you teleport in here. And this sign just says, main event. Basically, this block right in front of the main event sign is where the player will start. Well, I don't know, it's kind of low to the ground. Alright. So, one more thing I didn't think of is starting blocks. So, I don't know. What block should I use for that? Let's just say put a beacon where you want the player to start. Wow, I never knew beacons gave off light. Huh. Okay, so put a beacon where you want the player to start. And I'll put that here. Give off a lot of light, actually. Something new. So beacon equals player start. So the beacon... So wherever you put a beacon, that's where the player will start. So there should be 1 beacon and 1 lapis block for the goal in every level. Secrets, you can put secrets in. I'm not sure how many secrets I'm going to have to unlock. I may make some of the upgrades unlockable secrets so that you can't do them right away until you find them. Maybe. I don't know. But just aim for, say, 2 to 3 secrets per level. Probably about 2 secrets per level. Again, it depends how many levels I get and how many secrets I program. So, yeah. But that's about it. Just build it in that main event area and then save the world and send it to me. In case you don't know how to do that, if you go here, I'll show you how to go. So I think I've explained everything in here. Oh, one last thing. There are some map makers tools that I've added. Basically, right here we've got creative mode, permanent night vision. So turn this on, and as long as you're in creative mode, you will have night vision. It's a little flickery because it resets it every tick, but when you're inside, not looking at the sky, it's fine. If you want, you can use that. You don't have to. You can just turn that off, and then it'll wear off. But yeah, that only applies to people in creative mode, but it's just to help you, let's say, work on dark areas of your level if you want. Again, not necessary, just a helpful tool. There's this. Do not turn this on. This will be turned on in the final map, And what it does is it forces players into game mode 2. So I'm now in adventure mode, so I can't break anything. And this is the mode that your players will be in when they play this map. So keep that in mind as well, that they can't break things or place blocks. But if I try to switch out, it puts me right back in. So that's what this does. So I'm going to turn that off and go back into game mode 1. So again, don't turn this on while you're making a map. This forces people into peaceful mode because the map shall be played in peaceful mode. Sorry, let me move this for a second. One thing to note, these maps are, or this whole map is designed for the levels to be in peaceful mode. So don't put any enemies in your levels. However, if you feel like an enemy should be in the level, and it's sort of absolutely necessary for your level, or you think it enhances it a lot, I may consider letting the players play in easy mode instead of peaceful. Now, natural mob spawning is already turned off. So, yeah, if you really want hostile mobs in your level, what you're going to want to do is turn off this, because this forces peaceful mode, and then turn this on. And that will force it to be in easy mode. But I would not suggest that. Again, only do that if you really need hostile mobs in your level. But otherwise, I'm going to want to turn this off and go into game mode, or sorry, difficulty peaceful. And then turn this back on to enforce that. Yeah. So those are the map making tools. All of these are just the command blocks. One thing you can do if you want to reset things, and again, I don't know why you would need to, but if you're just playing around with things, you can just press this and it'll reset everything. You might want to do that before you start making your map so that you can... you might want to do that for your points. That'll reset your points value and it'll give you a points value if you don't have one. So you might, yeah, if you ever want to reset, it's that button on the thing that says init, because that's the initialization, so you can reinitialize, and yeah, it's fine. And then everything else is labeled, but I don't think you're going to need anything else, really. Nope. The stuff over there, I'm not going to show you. That is for the first secret that I've already programmed in. I haven't programmed in a way to collect that secret, but that is the code for the actual secret itself. If you want to spoil it for yourself, then you know when you download the map, you can go over there and look at what the signs say, and it'll tell you what that is. But if you don't want to spoil it for yourself, if you don't want to spoil it for yourself, then just don't go over there. Yeah. Alright, so again, link to the inspiration, which was NateT-Bird's Jump Arena, is in the description below. The world download is also in the description below. And come to spawn, grab the tools from there, use this video as reference if you need to remember how to use those tools, and yeah, build some levels. You will get credit, you will get your Minecraft player head in the lobby, and you will get cross-promotion for your YouTube channel, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you want me to put in it. Okay, and then, so just a tip for those who don't know how to send their worlds to other people. So I'm gonna quit to the title screen. So when you go into this menu here, where you select your world, there is there are buttons down here. So if you click any world and click Edit, you can click Open Folder. And by the way, this is a 1.9 only map, so yeah, you're going to need the latest snapshots. I don't know if you need the latest snapshot. I don't think I used anything that's super up to date, but you are going to need one of the more recent snapshots. Or 1.9 if you're watching this later, but if you're watching this by the time 1.9 came out, then I've probably already made this world, or made this map. So anyway, so you come into Edit World on any world you want, and click Open Folder. And when you do that, okay, I'm going to have to show my monitor. Oops. Yeah, so when you do that, you're going to come in here, and in this case it opens up to Parkour Peril, because that is the map that I clicked Edit on. But the important thing to note is that you can come back into the Saves folder from here, and this will get you into your Minecraft Saves folder, and all your worlds will be listed here. So you take the world you want to send, which in this case will probably be Parkour Peril as well. You can right-click it, and send to zipped folder. Now, if you're on a Mac, I don't know exactly what the options are called for that, but there is a way to compress your files. So you just want to zip or compress your files, your folder for your world save. And I assume that it's done it. It's just not refreshed. So yeah, Parkour Peril. So then you take that zip file and you can send that to me through any kind of upload service. I would suggest Dropbox. It's free for an account. It's dropbox.com, just link in the description. And then you just copy that over to your Dropbox into the public folder. And then paste it. And once it's finished syncing, when that blue disappears, you can right-click it and choose, where is it? Copy public link. And then you just send me that link, just paste it somewhere, and yeah. And then when you submit your world, or your world with your levels, just remember to build it in that main event area that you're teleported to, and let me know what kind of credits you want, what kind of cross-promotion you want. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you don't want a Dropbox account, you can also use... sorry, I have my Minecraft references up. You can also use things like... I think it's called Mega Upload, although it may have changed its name since then. Yeah. Oh, man. SendSpace works as well. I think. I haven't used these upload services in a long time because I usually use Dropbox. But here. Or just Google for Mega Upload. Ooh, it doesn't exist anymore. Good to know. So if you just search for upload files, right, then you can get all of these. File Dropper. There you go. Oh, it's Mega File Upload is the one I was thinking of. But yeah, File Dropper. Here you go. So you can just choose Upload File, and then you choose your zip file, and it'll give you a link, and you send that to me. I definitely suggest Dropbox, though. It's just simple to use, and you can use it for a lot of things. So yeah, that concludes this video. Please send me as many levels as you can think of. Get creative. Yeah, until next time, keep level designing.